Hey guys, welcome back to our
Real Love Scenario.
Shout out to all our real lovers out there. We are back with another week of
everybody.
episodes. Did you guys like our guest episode, our most recent one?
I feel like y'all did.
With our friend Damona, aka Don't Call Me White Girl.
It was great.
It was a good episode. That was
I
a lot
loved
of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Watched it several times.
Yes, I did too.
Partly because we have to watch it more than once.
Yeah.
For production reasons, but it was just a joy every single time to watch it. It was great. We had fun.
It was.
We had fun.
I loved having Mona on. I felt like you could just feel the energy and the chemistry that we all have. Like, it's different when you have a friend on.
Yes.
Conversation just flows
It's
lot
just
more
different. Yeah.
smoothly, and it's just people sense that energy. And I see people in the comments like, yo, we need this 3 more often.
We missed y'all. This is exactly what we needed. We love y'all. So shout out to all the positivity.
For sure.
Because
all the positivity.
we love that it's so much more of that because it drowns out the negativity.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna get on no soapbox about it, but y'all stop being mean to our friend.
Yeah.
Thanks. We appreciate
Do
it.
better.
Do better.
Please.
I know my mama taught me that if you don't have nothing nice to say, then you don't.
Say it at all.
That's it. That's what we be like.
Treat people how you want to be treated.
That's right. That's right. So that's it. But yes, it was wonderful.
Yes. It was
Run
a
it
great
up.
episode.
If you've seen it, but you know your friends haven't seen it or your family, send it, share it. That's what we want y'all to do.
Please do. How was your week? How was your time? It's been a while since we recorded. How you feeling?
Look, we talked on the phone yesterday.
Oh,
And I-
yeah. You
Dre,
know, just continue to support the channel, follow, subscribe.
please.
Because we want to one day at some point make this a full-time gig.
Please.
Sooner than later.
Sooner than later. Shout out to Mona.
Sooner than
Yeah,
later.
so my week was weeking. But I'm happy to be here, always in our happy place.
For sure.
How was your week?
My week was pretty good.
Good.
This rain was very weird. Like, my wife was in the Beyonce madness on Sunday, and it was like,
so was my niece.
yeah, my wife was like halfway through, like, yo, I might gotta check out and be like, yo, because it was just that bad. But they end up staying for most of the time,
Okay.
but it was just a lot. Like,
Yeah,
a
it
lot.
wasn't. My niece did a whole recap on TikTok.
Did you?
Because she was I think she was like 4th in line. Like she's a huge Beyonce fan. Like, she's been prepping for the concert for months, like working out, she made her outfit. Like, they were right in the front row. And so, they got there early. They had to leave out. It was a nightmare, but she got right back in her main spot.
Good,
so she's right in
good.
the front. She had a wonderful time, but it was wild.
That probably adds to the story 10 years down the road when
Yes.
you're telling, I was in the rain and it was
I
crazy.
remember
and this and-
2023. I saw Beyonce in the rain.
Yeah. So I'm glad that everybody stayed safe during that time.
Yes.
Hopefully. And you enjoyed the Queen doing her thing. In
I've
DC.
enjoyed y'all sharing it with the internet because I feel like I have been at the show 20 times.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
I feel like I want to battle in my relationship with that though.
Okay.
Because I was like, yo, y'all putting a lot of effort into these outfits. A lot of effort. Like, all the buying stuff. Oh, returning this don't work, making this. And then all for that Sunday for it to just
it
be,
to
they
rain.
wearing ponchos.
Yeah, that sucked.
And I'm like, I'm trying to tell you, like,
It
she was
felt-
stressing me out with that outfit. And I was just like, y'all doing a lot to see somebody else sing.
Sucks. But it's been so many dates where that didn't happen. So most people really got to show out. And they were also bringing people to the front. They were upgrading people's seats
Based off of their
based on their
outfits?
outfits.
Oh, dope.
So that was a big part of why people were putting so much
okay.
effort
Got
into
you,
it too.
got you.
Yeah.
Trying to win the lotto. I
Yes.
get it. I get
Yes.
it. So I want to read a review from one of our real
My
lovers.
favorite part of the show.
Right? Shout out to our real lovers. So the review is from King Swag _ Watty. King
Suck.
Swag. Swagged up. That's what swag.
That's
Y'all can't see her if you're listening, but
Yeah,
Rhonda
that's
gave
like
a
I'm a
little
swag
swagged
shoulders.
up,
You know
swagged
what
up
I'm saying?
dance. Says necessary and intentional. Thank you, thank you, thank you! Exclamation points. This space is so necessary and intentional. I can't tell you both how much this podcast has impacted my life in such a positive way. I feel like when I'm tempted to do something that isn't going to serve me, I hear your voices in my head.
Yes.
The point of views and life experiences that you both share are extremely needed in a time like this. I'm a single parent and have been through some things, and besides my faith in God. This podcast has given me the additional sense of hope for love and that it still exists. I've added to my prayer that not only my future husband is a man of God, but also listens to this podcast. If not, he's definitely going to. Praying you guys are able to do this for a long time. Heart.
Oh, thank you.
That's dope right there. I appreciate
That's so
you.
good.
King Swag _YT.
We appreciate you, King Swag.
That
Oh
was
man,
awesome.
it's like being a friend in your head is like on your little shoulder, like, don't King Swag, don't do that. I love that.
Who you listen to? The Rondo on your shoulder or Dre on your shoulder? It's okay.
Which side we on? I feel like you got two little angels on the sides. We both angels. You know, we play bad sometimes a little bit. That's so good.
Nah, that's really
love
dope.
that. I love that. And you know what, Dre? That's so encouraging because I'm not gonna lie. One of the things this week that I saw that like was not discouraging, but I just don't like it. I know you see it too, where like people say, oh, the relationship podcast, they just want them all out of here. I just want take their equipment. Like I just want everybody to shut up about it. Just learn how to love one another on your own. Like seeing that sometimes and seeing how many people are like, yes, get rid of them. It's like, oh, I hate that feeling. But it's the real lovers and the people who write in that just remind me, and I'm sure you, that like we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think if people receive relationship podcasts on how they should receive it, it would make you feel differently about it.
Yes.
Now, there are some crazy, salacious ones that talk about some wild stuff. But I think with this podcast, we do a good job of sharing perspectives. That's all it is. It's not about telling you you should do this or you should do that. Yeah. It's about to understand the full picture of something, you have to view it from different perspectives. If you only look at one thing from one angle every time, you won't get the depth of it or the full understanding of what it is. So you need to look at it from different ways and hear different point of views to have you be like, oh, okay, I didn't think about it that way. I may not even agree, but that allows me to maybe approach this better now that I know that this is what it looks like from this side, or this is why somebody could be doing it. So I think people approach listening to them wrong, and then there are those people who go out and give it a bad name. But that's what any community, right? Any community. I grew up Christian. There's people out here who's doing some wild stuff and radical things, and you'll be like, that's not a great representation of Christianity or somebody who believes in God. But then it's like, you just got to kind of deal with that when it comes to those things. With any, like I said, religion, sports, like anything.
It's some sports shows. I know you like to listen to sports podcasts and stuff. Like some handle it in a way, like you said, some are cool, but then some are like really messy. They're really mean.
Talking
they
about
say nasty
personally, and it's like that has nothing to do with what they play or the sport they play, anything. So unfortunately, it's what we deal with in this business. But you know. I'm glad that we have some real lovers that can see the real love that we put into this podcast.
Yes, big love.
And please write and review. Like I told you guys before, if you hit that follow button on podcast, that means so much to us and really helps to, boost the numbers to allow us to do a lot of cool things with the podcast. So please remember to do that. Please remember to subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
All right. Let's get into our real life love scenario. So this is another shout out. If you don't follow the Relationship Restore Instagram page, please do, because we post a lot of different content on that page. So we posted a reel. Well, I guess you got to call it a TikTok if it's on TikTok, I guess.
so.
And a reel is Instagram. I don't know.
Yeah.
We posted a video under 60 seconds. That is this interesting conversation that this man and woman are having. So the main question that we posed was, does keeping a secret account from your spouse in case of divorce mean you are not fully committed? So in this video, the husband approaches his wife about he received a statement that she had $22,000 in a separate account that he knew nothing about. And he approaches her about that. And she goes to say, well, I have to make sure I'm good just in case, basically, we get divorced and I leave. And from the understanding of the clip, she was pulling the money out of a joint account that they had.
Wow.
So with that being said, Rhonda, what is your opinion on, does that mean, let's answer the question first. Does keeping a secret account from your spouse in case of divorce mean you are not fully committed? Go.
I think so. Yeah, I'm leaning much more towards yes, mainly because it's a secret. mainly because you're hiding it. You're putting money in there and you're hiding that bank account from them. And the reason why you're hiding it, just in case, right? Like, yes, of course, there's a possibility that your relationship might not work out, but to function in that energy, it just, to me, brings bad juju to your relationship. I think hiding money from your spouse is not okay. I think if you want to have separate money from your spouse, y'all should have that conversation.
Yeah.
And you should be prepared to explain a reason that is not in case you leave me, as to why you want to keep some money saved off to the side. Now, if you all do wind up separating or divorcing, you have that account, it's yours. And if you now need to use it because you're getting a divorce, then cool. But perhaps you say, and I don't want to say you're lying. Don't because I think that's what this is sounding like.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep a separate account, sometimes it's because you just want to maintain your own savings. If it was your money, like, that's the second part of why this situation is so bad. Because, girl, how you gonna take the money out the joint account that you're not the only one contributing to? So you're using some of his money to stack in your account. So is it ours or yours? It's blurring the lines too much. So I just think her whole approach was just not good. And it's no way for him to not take away from it what he took away from it. And for everybody who's saying it's a skit, okay, fine. Even if it is a skit, it's a real situation.
Yeah, regular relationships deal with that.
Absolutely. So regardless of if this is real or not, this is a real issue that comes up. And so, yeah, I would be very bothered to find out that my husband was hiding money from me in case we got divorced.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. First, I'll say you always have to be careful of what you introduce into a relationship, because it's hard to knock those emotions and feelings once something is introduced. So the moment that he addressed her about this, as soon as she said, I'm doing this to make sure I'm good, basically in case we get divorced, now what will always be in that man's head is that if anything happens, if things get too rough in a relationship, that you might be looking to bounce.
Yeah.
Like that you are already thinking about leaving, and maybe I feel like we good and you're thinking about leaving.
Sure.
What if things get a little rough? What if I lose my job? What if we don't agree on something? Like, are you just going to bounce on me now?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel like that feels, from the other side of it. So you have to be careful when you're introducing certain things into your relationship. But also, I think it's the amount too, because for most average American couples, $22,000 is a lot of money. So to know that you have that just stacked away, not for us to build together,
right,
but for some future scenario to where you possibly don't want to be with me.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yep.
We're here right now in the present.
Yeah.
We could be wanting to get a house. And imagine, how things go in relationships. You to complain about like, the car needs some new tires. Oh, we got to save up, we want to go on vacation here. And all whole time you give me pushback or why that may not make sense. Or I'm telling you how we got to save up to do this. Meanwhile, you got $22,000
sitting over somewhere. Your divorce
to spend
fund
with another man. That is insane.
Not to spend with another man.
It ain't being spent with me.
Yes, you add some sprinkle on it.
It ain't being spent with me.
It's being spent with her. You introducing a whole nother man. Just because we get divorced don't mean I'm going to be with another guy.
All right. If you getting your hair done, you're attracting another man. If you get buying new clothes, those clothes is attracting another man.
Damn.
That $22,000 ain't being involved in nothing that we are doing.
True.
Because it's being hidden from me.
Correct.
So there was no intention of me contributing or having it or being any recipient of that at all. She could have been like, I've been saving up to buy you something, baby.
Yeah. Or I'm saving for our retirement. Again, like you can say that it's for something that would make more sense to the relationship.
Yeah.
And I do think like sometimes we project what we would do if it were us with our money, and every married couple doesn't share income. Every married couple doesn't do that. So whatever your dynamic is, it should just be transparency.
There should be an understanding.
Yes. Like everybody should be being honest about that. That like, okay, some people have a joint account, but they only put in there their household expenses. They don't put all of their income in there. So if our mortgage is $2,000 and we say we're going to split it, only I put in 1,000, you put in 1,000, but my pay might have been $5,000.
Yeah.
The other 4 is mine, and I choose to do with that what I want. So whatever your financial dynamics are, again, these conversations we got to start having before we get married, before we move in with each other. These are the conversations. How do you see money in a marriage? Do you feel like once you get married, mine is yours and yours is mine? Oh, you don't feel that way? Tell me what you do feel like. Have the conversation so it's no surprises down the road.
Yeah. I mean, what she's doing is very close to embezzlement.
Yeah, girl, especially because, girl, you are literally account. Taking it from the joint account.
And I saw I don't know if you saw a court thing. Did you send that to me?
The court thing.
Where a woman wanted child support, or she got her child support taken away or reduced? No. The man reduced. The child support got reduced. Mm-mm. It was an interesting thing because the woman was like, basically the judge, it was a black judge, and it was a white lady and like a white man.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, the judge was asking questions and she was asking the woman, like, and the woman was answering very candidly and very transparent. But she was like, why do you want the child support? Like, the child support is already so high, you know, what's your reasoning for wanting to stay at where it's at? And she was like, well, I needed to take care of me. And then she was like, or she said, I needed to make sure I'm good. And if you've seen that, I might be paraphrasing a little bit. She was like, I need to make sure I'm good. And she was like, why wouldn't you be good? And she was like, well, I don't work. And she was like, well, why don't you work, or why don't you have a job? And she was like, because I get the child support and I don't need, with the amount that it has, I don't need to work. And basically she was going down this thing, and the judge was like, okay, I'm reducing his child support.
Yep.
Because you acting like you don't need to work. Like, what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
Like, I'm good, or I need this to be good. No, you're willing and able-bodied to work.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I saw this. It's like a judge show.
No,
it's a black young.
No, it was an actual court case.
Okay. Is the judge a woman, a younger woman?
It's a woman.
Yeah, I feel like I might have saw this.
But it reminds me of this. Is like, yo, she sounds like she don't work. Like, why wouldn't you be good?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be good?
Because a lot of people, not a lot, but there are some women who really do. This is like when people talk about celebrities and like they want to have a baby with a really wealthy man, because the child support is based on his income usually, regardless of what the mom does or makes or what the child even necessarily like needs. Child support is based on whoever's being petitioned for it is based on their income. And so sometimes that is so high.
No, it is.
That a person can truly live off of that. That becomes like a salary. But child support is not spousal support. Child support is not alimony.
Not alimony.
No, it is to support the child. And I do think that some of the lines are blurred, right? If I'm housing the child, then naturally I'm housed in the same space. But that doesn't mean every household expense that you have in your home, I have to pay for because my kid lives there. Girl, no. I know I'm a woman that y'all would drag me for that, but
we could have a different question about different conversation about child support, because I do have some opinions on that.
It's abusive.
In the system.
Yes, it can be quite abusive.
For sure. But we wish that couple or any couples that are going through that type of situation all the best, because marriage is supposed to be that full commitment. And if you're putting in a back door, if you're packing a parachute, then it never feels like you're truly ultimately all the way there and all the way invested. So that's the point of marriage. You take the time, you go through all the steps. Hopefully you go through premarital counseling, you make the commitments because you're saying this is the one.
Yeah.
And sometimes those things and those relationships fall apart, but that's just, part of things, but I don't think you'll ever truly feel great about something, especially a marriage, unless you put everything you got into it.
Absolutely. So, finances has always been in the top 5 reasons for divorce.
So, it is. Communicate, as Rhonda and I always say.
Effectively. So we have an update.
Okay.
We have an update from episode 66.
Update episode 66.
Now, we tend to ask for updates, but we don't always get them. But I do remember very specifically being like, we need an update.
And timely too. It was very timely. Like
update.
We able to update the next episode.
So I'm going to read this. If you don't know what we're talking about, episode 66 was my husband is lusting over other women. Yep. Are we doomed? Okay. She says, Rhonda, Dre. I just listened to episode 66 and woo, y'all took it there. Love you guys so much. I just wanted to give an update. So I did actually end up meeting her, and I must clarify, I never told him to just end the friendship. I kept telling him how uncomfortable I felt because, again, I would hate to leave him in the dark, but it was completely up to him. My take was it's his friendship, not mine. And with not having any proof, as Drake continued to state, I didn't feel like I had a place to say, hey, just don't be this person's friend. So I met her one Saturday while we were out at the pool, and it was awkward, all caps. She was really quite nervous. She was really quiet and nervous, hardly wanted to interact, etc. I'm definitely a little intimidating, but I made it a point to continue to engage with her and be as nice as I could. Still was very awkward. Red flag for me. Once she left, I told my fiance that it was indeed awkward, but that I'd be open to meeting her again in a different setting. So I ended up taking the high road after seeing him moping and upset about the situation. I told him I would remove myself and allow him to let it play out how it should. Fast forward, they reconnect in the gym and he lets me know they are cordial and speaking again. Let's see.
At this point.
I had to move the screen, Jesus. At this point, after all the things developed, I'm truly fine with it and tired of letting it interfere with our relationship. 2 days later, he ends up falling out with her because she ended up showing her true colors. In the end, I ended up being right that she had deeper feelings for him. I was right, y'all. Right, all caps. He decided to block her and not continue trying to rekindle their friendship. We'll see how that goes. Also, update on the lustful thoughts. He let me know that he realized because of the situation we were in with our new baby, lack of sleep, continued arguments, his thoughts came from a lack of various things during this time, but he doesn't truly feel that way and would never want to lose what we have. So all in all, we are good and continuing to have transparent conversations. It's still an open wound of sorts, but we are definitely in a better place. Thank you for sharing your advice. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for that update.
Thank you for that update. Whew.
Because people was on me as if everything I was saying was just incompletely, no possible way that could work. And no, he is being blah, 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 blah. But this shows, I think that there's a lot of validity in what we were talking about and what you had said and what she had said. Mind you, people, when we do this show, it's to offer different perspectives.
That's right.
It's not like this show would be very short if Rhonda and I were like, yep, you're right. I'm right.
Done. See ya.
We agree. We agree. We agree.
You agree. I agree. We agree. Yes.
But also it's about offering different perspectives. And I think that in this, ultimately what I see is that when she initially brought it up, she made the effort to meet the girl. The girl was awkward. And it seemed like after she expressed that it was awkward, that he kind of let it, let the relationship kind of go by the wayside.
Yeah.
Because she says that they end up reconnecting at the gym. And then she let it play out. And what happened? He cut her off because he was like, yo, you being inappropriate. I got my fiance. I love my fiance. Like, I'm done. I'm good. Sometimes you got to trust your person and let them play out, because if they really aren't doing something and you keep telling them, yo, you doing this, you doing this, you doing this, you're going to push them sometimes in a way that's like, yo, I'm not even doing nothing. And you're hounding me and telling me I'm doing all these things. And I promise you it's nothing like that. I introduced you to the person. I brought them over. Like, I'm telling you everything that's happening in this thing. And you're telling me that I'm doing something that I'm not. So that was the one thing. And then the other part, when I was like that possibly the lustful thoughts could be other things and not just wanting to be with other women. It could be, a lack of, I think I said like not being able to hang out with your friends or something. But just introducing that is not always what we think sometimes, in our feelings and emotions aren't always what's actually happening. It's just our interpretation of what's happening. But it could be a lot of different things that's contributing to that. And like you said, it could be the postpartum thing or the lack of attention or like all these different things that can contribute to that. That's not actually what the person is saying out their mouth. It actually is, because it just takes some time to work through those thoughts.
Yeah.
So I say all I say is that, just, listen to other perspectives sometimes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
We don't all think the same. We don't all interpret things the same. I'm very glad that they continue to have conversations about it. I'm very glad that she didn't feel that her intuition was wrong.
Yeah.
Her desire to maybe expedite what she was feeling was one thing, but her intuition was very much spot on. The feeling that she had, that was just a feeling and it didn't have any tangible proof. With time, her intuition showed that, yes, she's right. And so I do believe that that's truly a gift. I do believe that that's something that God puts in lots of people, not just women, but it seems like we tend to have it a lot. And I definitely think that having a new baby, and I don't have no experience with that, but with all of my friends, I know that it changes you a lot. It changes how you think. It changes your patience with things, especially in that newborn phase when like a lot of what you are used to having on your own, you're being deprived of that.
Yeah.
Sleep, personal time, probably your sex life is struggling. You may not feel very pretty because your body is going through the healing process, not just down there, but everywhere. Your boobs are engorged. It's just so many things going on and then he's having to watch you go through this and he's sleep deprived and all of these different things. I just felt like what I remember from the episode is the timing of introducing the feelings of other women coupled with this situation, coupled with us just having a baby. It's like the timing of all of that was just like, ooh. Sometimes I think we give people a lot of credit for being honest. And I do think you should be honest, right? Like it's not a gold star for you to tell the truth. You're supposed to tell the truth, but there's also something that's called tact and timing, right? And so sometimes timing is just bad. Sometimes it's like, well, we have been arguing about this. We have not been sleeping enough. Have I been potentially thinking about that one? Maybe, but let me just hold that for right now. Sit on that a little bit and not introduce that because it's such a fragile time. But I'm so thankful that they are working it out because I was so scared. Like, Lord, it's a new baby in this situation. Yeah. Let's please work this out. It's not that I didn't think it was that serious, really.
I felt like they were going to be good. And understand when I'm giving my perspective too, it's always from like, I'm married. I, was in a long-term relationship with my wife. So a lot of times when I'm talking, I'm thinking of a man who does actually love their women, but the internal thoughts and battles that they may be having, or they're women. I said,
you said women love their women. Yes.
My bad. Oh, woman.
Yes. One
their
woman.
Wife, a girl, a fiance. And I'm speaking from that perspective. And now it's revealed in this, that's her fiance.
Yeah.
And I think that in situations when you have somebody who truly loves you, with humans, just in general, we don't do a great job, especially as adults, when somebody is like telling us to do something.
Yeah.
When somebody's like, yo, you need to do this. It don't matter who it's coming from. Just that tone, they could be right.
Yep.
But just them approaching you in that way make you almost like, I'm going to do the opposite just because you telling me you trying to tell me what to do. Like, I'm grown. Like, you ain't telling me what to do.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're in a relationship with somebody who loves you and you express yourself and how you feel, not saying you got to do this or you do that, it's saying this is making me feel this way. A lot of times that person love you, that does not go unheard or unnoticed.
Right. Yeah.
They hear you.
Yeah.
They hear you and they pay attention to that. And I think that that's why even when she was like, they reconnected, I think when she expressed that, he was just kind of like, all right, I need to create some distance because it ain't really nothing going on, but you my fiance, like,
yeah. And
like,
now the mother of my child.
And now the mother of my child, like, I will take into consideration how you feel. Like, I'm not ignoring you. I love you.
Yeah.
So just understand that, like, your feelings won't go unheard, but if you start telling people what to do, a lot of times they'll start to act out or do the opposite, even if you're right. Like, I learned in my relationship, that's not the way to go. Like, demanding as if you are some dictator, like, you need to do this and you need to do that. And it's like, nah. They're going to get super defensive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know I have in relationships where it's like, you need to, or you should. It's like, or you could just introduce a perspective and a suggestion and talk to me maybe about, take the suggestion away, or just present it as how you feel. Don't even talk about what I need to do. Like you said, just how do you feel about it? Just share how you feel and let me figure it out as a person who loves, respects, and honors you and wants to do what will make you comfortable always. Exactly. You're my priority. That's the type of relationship I've had, and that's certainly the type of relationship I want. All right.
Well, this is a great segue into this doozy.
Woo.
Of a scenario.
Woo. Are we ready?
We are ready.
You got your seatbelt on?
I do.
All right. So you know how much I love when we hear from a guy.
Yes.
This week we hear from Sebastian, and he says, my girlfriend and I have been dating for 2 years, and the issue of her having male friends has always been a problem. I told her from the beginning that I'm not comfortable with it. My girlfriend is an attractive woman, and I understand she is going to be approached often. However, the biggest problem is her boss at work. I found their relationship to be too friendly and told her that I don't think they should be communicating outside of work hours or about anything personal. She said okay, but then told me that her boss would make jokes and tell the other male coworkers who would approach her to back off because she sends me pictures of herself. This was already a red flag, but what made it worse is she didn't do anything about it. Late last year, she transferred to a new location within the same company. With that new location of her job, she had to commute almost 2 hours. She vented to her boss about it, and he offered to get her a hotel near the job. And when she rejected the offer, he gave her the cold shoulder for weeks. To help with the commute, I offered for her to live with me, and she accepted. One night, she was in bed sleeping, and I was up late. I was admiring her resting, but something came over me. And no matter how much I told myself not to check her phone, a strong feeling in my gut led me to look in her phone. I checked her socials, found nothing, but when I went in her text, I found she deleted 450 messages from her and her boss. She also deleted messages from a guy who visits her job often and has asked her out more than once before. There were also messages from her high school friends with benefits who coincidentally was just blowing her phone up a few weeks prior while we were at lunch. She kept playing dumb like she didn't know who it was that was calling her, and when I brought up his name as a possibility, it started an argument. I woke her up and confronted her about it all. I was furious, shaking, yelling, and although I tried to hold my composure, I couldn't because I was so hurt. She didn't deny anything and apologized, but I don't think she was sorry, just sorry she got caught. I told her she needs to handle it before I come to her job and embarrass her boss. I wanted to break up with her and kick her out, but I knew she didn't have anywhere to go at the time. Weeks later, she moved out to stay with her godmother, and even though things have been good with us, I fear that now we are apart more. She will return to her old ways. I love this girl and we have a great relationship, but I don't know if staying with her is me being blinded by love. What should I do?
Lord.
Hey, Sebastian, thanks for writing in.
You should have had Rihanna playing in the background. That's what you should have had. We'll say, don't tell me you're sorry, cause you're not. Cause baby, when I know you only sorry you got caught. But you put on quite a show. Really had me going. Now it's time to go. Curtains finally closing. I'm trying to tell you, she's time to go. Put on quite a show. Really had you going.
She really had you going, boy. She started that show long before that night. She been putting on that performance for.
But it's over now. That's what you need to be coming in at. Go on and take a bow. That's where we at right now.
Sebastian, we not laughing at you, baby. We not laughing at you.
I'm just saying it's a song for everything. Rihanna wrote it for you. Actually, Neo wrote it. If I'm being technically right, Neo, but Rihanna sung it. It's laid out for you. Just send her that. just send her that.
Yo, Dre, what the lyrics say? And it's what? It's time to what?
Bow. Take a bow. Time to take a bow.
Because it's over now. Oh my God.
Well, Sebastian, there's a lot that we can break down in this scenario.
Now I just keep thinking of Rihanna's songs. Did she sing Unfaithful too?
Yeah.
And I know that he knows. Okay. I'm unfaithful. This kills me.
Inside. to know that I'm happy
with some other guy.
What if she came back? I don't want to do this anymore.
Listen.
I don't want to be the reason why. Every time you walking out the door, I see a dollar.
Wait for the Rihanna music, Sebastian. Okay, we are very sorry. We're gonna get this podcast on the roll and get you some answers. Wow. But we had to have this little breakdown.
Who knew
Lord,
Rihanna has so many songs that relate to this.
God
Ooh,
damn. Also, give me some. One thing we're gonna do is do our thing on the music. Any of these music platforms, you want to talk to us about some deals? We are available. Ooh, y'all know the ones. I ain't gonna drop no names. Call us.
Oh, Jesus. All right, Sebastian.
Okay, Sebastian. Back to the program here.
All right,
we're sorry. Yeah.
You want to tell them?
No, because I told you, I feel like sometimes it's not that men don't listen to women, because sometimes they do. But I feel like maybe you should start, and I think that maybe you should tell them.
I mean, well, the thing is that
I'm gonna follow you up, though. I'm gonna back you up.
I mean, I think Rihanna said it perfectly. But listen, bro, Sebastian.
Hey, Bash. You gonna say it to the camera?
No.
Yeah.
She ain't it. I'm just telling you based off of what you gave me. Mm-hmm. The type of love that you want and the type of love that you seem to have for her, I don't feel like it's being reciprocated. And the same feeling that you have for her, she has for you. Yeah. And I said on a post on Instagram, just because it's the first time it has happened to you doesn't mean that it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're operating as if this is a once in a lifetime type of love that you can't get it with nobody else but her. And I guarantee you it's going to hurt because breakups hurt. Moving on from somebody hurts. But you will find somebody who will treat this isn't the standard. This isn't the standard in which a healthy relationship and foundation is built to last for the future. Because what you're showing is that a lot of times what you're doing in relationships, and I always say this, is that everything that you do in a relationship is a building block and a brick on which your relationship is going to be standing on.
That's right. It's your foundation.
It's your foundation. What you're telling her right now, the bricks are being laid, is that you're okay with being a doormat, essentially. That she can tell you, she can act how she want to act because it's obvious, right? We know what's going on.
Absolutely.
She know what's going on. You even said she didn't deny it.
That's it.
She's looking like, look, he's still here.
Listen.
And guess what? He ain't going nowhere. So I can just keep doing what I'm doing, how I want to do it.
When I want to do it.
I just, got to be a little bit better at cleaning up my tracks to save the arguments. Like, I don't feel like going back and forth about it.
Yep.
But I'm just going to continue to do what I want to do.
Yeah. Now, listen, Sebastian wrote in a lot of information, and y'all know I try to get, we write it down so we can try to get the meat of the story read. But I had to also pull out this context to share with our real lovers because there's more to this story. Okay. Some of the extra context is that the last text messages with the boss she had deleted were from that night, that same night that he confronted her, before he confronted her. He wanted her, the boss, wanted her to come over to meet his nephews at his brother's house, who lives about 15 to 25 minutes away. And this was around 9 to 10 p.m. Okay. There were also text messages from family events that him, Sebastian, and his girlfriend were at. And she was sending the boss pictures of what was happening at this family function that she was at with her man. Also, there were call logs that showed that they talk on the phone when he is at work and she's at home. I guess they work different shifts. She also talks to him on her way home from work, the job where she works at with him. So after being with the boss all day long at the job, you get in the car and you talk to him on the phone while you're driving home. Okay. Then on the 4th of July, they were in the car. The boss calls. Her phone is connected to the car. He tells her to pick it up, see what the boss wants. She refuses to pick up the call. That starts a fight. Lastly, there were nights that they would be watching movies together and the boss would be calling back to back and she would not pick up. I would tell her to pick it up and see what he wants. She said, well, he's just my friend and we talk about our home life issues and he's probably just calling to get some advice. Although that might be true, I told her that this is not your friend.
Yep.
Sebastian, I think that she's in the relationship with the boss and you are the man on the side. It based on how much keeping up with this man that she's doing.
Sound like her friend.
Yeah.
Good friend.
Yeah, you sound like her really good friend that's letting her stay with you and be very supportive. And in all seriousness, I'm sure it is truly a relationship, right? But her behaviors are so, they're just a lot. That's a lot of communication with someone that you work with. And I have had wonderful relationships with my colleagues. If you're not new here, you know that that's how Dre and I met.
Yep.
We met as coworkers. The relationship was fully professional until we started to develop a friendship. But it was a friendship. We would hang out sometimes outside of work, but Dre was single, and I don't even know if I was single. I might not have been. I wasn't
at that time.
But it was always in a shared group environment. It was always something like super cool. You met my boyfriend at some point. It was never like that. And it's super clear. Me and Dre also didn't talk on the phone all night after we were just at the office all day. It just wasn't all of those things. And most importantly, I have never deleted our messages.
Oh yeah,
because it's nothing in there. This is just my homie / my coworker.
Yeah. If we're gonna get on work relationships, so I have had a boss, not Rhonda,
not
me,
me,
we were working together, who was very inappropriate,
extremely.
Wanted me in all different types of ways.
Listen, had Dre on that little, the little rotisserie stick in her mind. That's how she had Dre rolling around on that little rotisserie stick.
She used to come in the office, rub my shoulders, stuff
Crazy.
like that. Like I think she used to tell people that, like, or she would like heavily infer that her and I were doing stuff and and she wouldn't deny it if somebody were to say something, but she would like infer but not really say it. So much that people that didn't like her didn't like me because they thought her and I were just so
like
close.
in cahoots.
And then they met me and I was like, no, I can't stand that woman. Like she get on my nerves, yo.
Real bad.
And they like, oh, I thought y'all was, and I was like, no,
Yeah,
no,
yes.
no.
And the last
no.
deal that we worked on, because I wasn't working with Dre when a lot of that stuff was happening, so you just told me about it. But then when we worked together, when we actually had our property together, she would come to our property so much just to see Dre, just to show off for Dre. Meanwhile, y'all, this woman is married with a slew of babies. No shade, but she had a big family.
She did.
7 kids?
Something like that. 8, something like that.
And it was just like, ma'am, you're not even like, Dre don't want you, number one. Number two, even if he did, you are not available. You are somebody's wife, you weirdo.
And this is how like these situations, what I encourage, don't deal with married folk. I don't care what the situation is, because you never know. Because I remember that she even shared a conversation that she had with her husband at one point. And I don't know if did I tell you this? I think I
feel like you did.
And basically her husband was like, don't get caught up with that young boy at work. I never met the man at this time. I don't know him from a can of paint. The only way that my name could ever be brought up in their house is
from her.
And basically her response was, I have X amount of kids. He don't want me. Not like, babe, you don't got nothing to worry about. Not babe, blah, 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 blah. It's just messy. These like workplace relationships. So I've had, some dealings with a boss who is a little inappropriate, and it's easy to shut that down. Like to be like, no, I do understand sometimes, in the situation. I know that it was a big move, me too, all those things to where you feel kind of pressured. It's like, is me giving the cold shoulder or denying some of these advances affect my job or my ability to be promoted or anything like that? So
it's called quid pro quo. That's the phrase for it. It just means something for something, but it's used in HR as it's a type of harassment where a person of authority makes you feel like you have to accept their sexual advances or requests, or they will essentially threaten you, take away promotions, not give you certain things at work because you won't satisfy them professionally. Personally.
So I think that's something, if you were trying to repair this situation, is like, yo, just give me the real. Is this a situation where this is like that and you don't feel like, you can speak up about it, or you don't feel like you can, say how you really feel about it because you're in fear of what that might mean for you professionally or for your career?
Yeah, absolutely. That is, I have been, I wouldn't say sexually harassed, and I'm not trying to like diminish it, but I have certainly dealt with an inappropriateness.
Yeah.
Yes, like you're saying things that you definitely shouldn't say. I've never been touched, because I think if I had been touched, that would have certainly gone the full extent.
Oh, for
but
sure.
I've been certain people have definitely said things to me that you shouldn't say at work. And I know that it's so easy, right, to have a personal relationship with your coworkers because you spend so much time with them. You tend to see them more than you see the people at home, more than you see your partner, more than you see your dog, more than you see your parents. But workplace relationships romantically can get out of whack really quickly. Sometimes they can go really well. Like my old boss, you remember Jessie? She met her husband at work, right? Like she was in leasing, he was the maintenance guy. They liked each other. They started dating. And once things started to get serious, they both went to the company and said, listen, we are dating each other. We want to be honest about it, because it was in the handbook. And the company supported them dating, but removed them from working with each other. They still work for the same company, but one was moved to a different location, because those relationships, like I said, they can get really complicated, especially when they don't work out. Like I've had a husband, as they say, work husband, but it's never been what a lot of husbands and work wives wind up being. Is like we call each other that because we got a thing for each other.
Yeah.
My husband was Derek, and I adored Derek, but never in that way. He was just like my partner. He was like my work partner.
Yeah, I had those too.
Yeah.
And it was more like you said, more of the, if you were to call it that, it was more like a small, like we would nag at each other sometimes, and like small little things like that, but not like a romantic, element
thing
of any relationship.
Yeah. And be clear, if I was with a man and he shut it down, he was like, I don't like you using that word, I wouldn't use it, because I understand. I would shut it down.
I think it's very easy to fall for somebody that you work with, because you spend so much time with them, like you said, but then also it's getting the most, not the best time of you, but it's like you wake up energized for the day, and you're spending the full day with that person, especially if you're going into an office every day or going to work with somebody every day. Then when you get home in the evening, if you have a partner, you're probably exhausted, tired, and then there's so many different things that you're dealing with and talking about and all those things. And then if you're having trouble at home, like the work relationship could be a nice relief. And then it's like an inflated, mystified version as well, because you're not getting all of that person, all of their flaws, you're just getting a very curated, small snapshot version of them at work. So it's easy to fantasize what this could be, what that could look like, how this could, come about. And then with all the different things that we've seen, from movies to pornography to all these different things that fantasize this like forbidden love, forbidden fatal lust, attraction, like fatal attraction type of feel. It's very easy to kind of fall into that trap when it comes to a work situation of like wondering what that might be.
For sure.
So it definitely takes a certain level of discipline, especially if you're single and you're just out looking, and to just be like, no, this is strictly this type of relationship. I don't want to do anything like that. Possibly if we never work together, I wouldn't even present that option to them. Just like, I'm good, because it just make the situation crazy, especially if you got a man, Miss Sebastian.
Okay, Miss Sebastian, especially if you got a man. Oh my God. Listen, I did want to share this statistic. It came from Live Career. They polled people, it was in 2023, that 78% of Americans have considered dating someone, and 58% eventually did. So more than half of people that work together have in fact dated each other, or, had a romantic relationship. That basically breaks down to 3 in 4 people have had a romantic relationship with someone they work with. Listen, I ain't saying this doesn't work out all the time. I'm just saying be prepared if it doesn't, because that could look like somebody not having their job, especially when there's an authoritative dynamic. If one of you is the boss and the other is not, that can, to me, that's the worst situation. If you both are peers and colleagues, and perhaps you just work for the same organization, but you don't actually work directly together, I think that's perfect. But when you in the same space, working in the same office, on the same whatever y'all do, and one's the boss, slippery slope.
And to add to that work relationship thing too, is that just we as humans in general, we do things in proximity. That's why they like to say black on black crime. And it's proximity crime.
It's proximity crime.
That's all it is. Even I know a lot of people, if you're like me, especially like pre-COVID and pre the pandemic, when you went to work somewhere, you always ate lunch at a particular spot because in proximity to where you were, that was the
Shout out to Harris
When's
Teeter.
the last time I was about to say we used to eat Harris Teeter hot bar all the time.
Damn near every
Ask
day.
me the last time I went to the Harris Teeter lunch bar. It's not near me, so I
Right.
don't eat it. And it was just because I was in proximity to that. Or
Yes.
like roti when I was in DC and working there. I ate there all the time.
Yep.
It was right there. I don't eat a roti no more. Ain't no rotis around. Like that's just not how I do things. So I feel like when you look at these workplace relationships, if you're looking for love or you want love and you are dating, you kind of look in the proximity of where you're at. And if you got this place where you spend 40 hours a week at,
Yeah.
it's very possible that that might be a place to where you're looking for that or somebody finds that.
For sure. For sure. Miss Sebastian is, to me, because there is no, at least he didn't make any mention of it, that there's any proof of physical cheating. Like that she's sleeping with her boss or sleeping with any of these other guys. But it seems like she has a strong emotional situation, specifically with the boss. So maybe want to ask you, do you think emotional cheating is worse than physical cheating?
People always say yes, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's worse. I don't know. It depends on who the individual is. Because some people are kind of okay with you emotionally cheating. Right? It's like, I don't feel like talking about that stuff. And also people emotionally cheat, not just with other people of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
They can mostly cheat with their mom. They can mostly cheat with their sister.
That's so true.
They can mostly, because all it is somebody who's supporting them and being there emotionally for them. So when they have a problem, when something's going on at work, when they have something exciting that's happening in their life, they're not going to you. They're just going to somebody else. That's still cheating. You emotionally, it's cheating the relationship emotionally. Like, I don't know what's going on with you. You have problems. I don't know that you're having
so
problems.
true.
You're going in in different directions than this relationship. So emotional cheating can be like, it's bad, but I feel like it's more common because it doesn't just happen on the opposite sex level. It just happens in so many different ways. Calling a best friend, like, it happens so much, and people are used to sharing other things emotionally outside of their partner.
Right.
So, but physical, the reason that's so tough is that that's like more of a deliberate, like, this is wrong and you're choosing to do this anyway. Like, the emotional cheating lines tend to get blurred sometimes. What is sharing too much outside of your relationship? What isn't? Who is it okay to talk to it with? Who's not? What is it? We would have to kind of define what emotional cheating is, but physical is like knowing. We know we chose to be with each other. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, physically, and that's it.
Right.
But you're choosing to have this physical act with somebody else.
Right.
I feel like it would be more challenging for me to
get through that.
Get through a physical cheating thing versus like an emotional cheating thing. Because possibly, I think when people think emotional cheating all the time and they say like it's worse, I think they always think that when somebody emotionally cheats that they're so far gone that they can't come back from that. To where it's like, no, I feel like you can get past somebody emotionally cheating if you just open up more, or if you just say you're more willing to listen or be more understanding. To where sometimes with physical, people think like, yo, if you go outside a relationship physically, that just means that you aren't satisfied in your relationship physically, and there's nothing that you could possibly do to make up for that. So then it kind of feels lost.
Yeah.
I don't know, does that make sense?
It does. It definitely does. Certain parts of it, at least for me personally, I disagree only because I do feel like, yes, we can have emotional relationships with lots of people, like family members and friends, close friends and stuff like that. And of course, our romantic partners. But I think that the deliberate choice, very similar to how you described it with the sexual cheating, I still feel like there's a great deal of intention that happens with you choosing to find a person or engage with a person emotionally that you're hiding or keeping it from me. Like, I think though that is where the duality is, that it's the same for me. Physical cheating is a deliberate choice. You went to go and have sex with someone and you know that that's something that you're not supposed to do. But I think you should also know that I wouldn't be okay with you having an emotional closeness to a person that is not your sister, that is not your best friend, that is not your mother, that is not any of those people. This is a person of the opposite sex. If it's me, you're my man. This is a woman that's your coworker or some, if we're tiering relationships in our lives, your coworker falls below your friends. So if you got like spouse, family, friends, coworker. So this person, and then you got stranger, like person you just randomly met out somewhere, because people emotionally cheat with those people too. I feel like you still made a choice. I still feel like you exchange numbers. Even if it's your coworker, you got to have their number, but you don't have to talk to them about stuff that's not at work. Listen, I love many of my coworkers, most of my coworkers, but I rarely talk to them outside of the workplace. Yeah. It happens sometimes. Like, you are an exception. LaRonda is an exception. There's some people that I developed a real relationship with, but the vast majority of the people I've worked with, I don't have a personal relationship with them. It's just a professional one. I did look up, because you made a really good point, we need to define it. So I just want to read a definition I found really quick. It just says that emotional cheating is a particular type of secretive, sustained closeness with someone who isn't your primary partner. It's one person making a unilateral decision to cultivate non-sexual intimacy with someone other than their primary romantic partner in a way that weakens or undermines the relationship. And that's defined by mindbodygreen.com. And so with that, that's why I feel like they're both very bad, right? I don't know if I could say one is worse than the other, but I think most people say emotional is worse because, like you said, they feel like it's so strong that it's something that is harder for you to cut off, where if you only just had sex with them because you like the way they look, maybe you can shake that, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I think also the barriers to entry into those spaces are a lot different.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
It's easy to cross the emotional line. That can be, I see you at work and we just end up talking. Yep. That's one thing, or even on the phone or something like that. To take your clothes off and like be that takes a more deliberate and just like, this is what I'm doing. I'm intentional about this. Like, I don't know, it just feels like the steps it takes to cross the line when it comes to physical are a lot more intentional. Like, yo, this is what I'm doing, versus, the emotional seems like it could be a little bit easier to kind of fall into that.
Yes. But then there's the back end of it, like Miss Sebastian, where now you are being intentional, because you're not just having these emotional connections at work. It was times where we worked together where it would get so tough. We there after hours and I'm frustrated. It's a lot of work. You're being there. You're supportive. You my right-hand man. So we're having these like, yo, it's going to be all right. Those type of things. But to then can keep that up nonstop outside of work, that's when deliberateness starts to happen. To delete those communications, that's when you're being deliberately messy. Yeah. To hide it, act like it's nothing when he's calling when we're together, that's when all of a sudden you can't talk to your boss. But every time I'm not around, you can't. That's when that's the taking off the clothes for me. Yeah. That's the laying on your back for me.
For sure. No, I think in that point, you're doing something wrong. That's why you're trying to cover your tracks. Bingo. If you don't feel like what you're doing is wrong, like there is a point to where when people are in relationships, there is a bit of being naive sometimes that you have to educate somebody on. Sometimes there's things you feel like people should just know, but there's sometimes that people are just like, oh, I didn't even think that was a thing. Right. I didn't even look at it that way. And it's true, like truly being naive. And it's like, okay, no, this is not okay. And that's where you might find the messages, because they didn't delete them, because they were like, I ain't even think
this was nothing.
I didn't even think this was anything. Like, I don't care. Like, oh, I didn't know it was a thing. My bad. I won't do that anymore. But the deleting lets you know that is a deliberate, like, I know that what I'm doing is not right.
Yes.
Or it can come off in a certain type of way.
If my partner saw it, they wouldn't like it.
450 is insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like depending on how long this has been happening, because he said they've been together for 2 years. I don't know how long she's been at the job. But, 450 messages across, let's say she's been up to this for a year, might not seem like a lot, because I probably could do 450 text messages with some friends of mine. Again, people I talk to all the time. But yes, when I
Deleting
told
$450.
what? Like when I told you, and he said, I told her from the door, I'm not okay with this. So I'm sure some people are going to hear this scenario and they're like, oh, well, why would he say she can't have male friends? That's his comfort level. He's not saying you can't have male friends. He's saying that I don't want my girlfriend to have male friends. So if that's something you require, then we just shouldn't date.
Or they could be that I don't want my girlfriend to have male friends, or I don't want you to have male friends as my girlfriend, because I've seen how you interact when you got men in your life who ain't me.
Yep.
That's
time and time again.
That's how it is sometimes. Like sometimes people have a general relationship rule, but sometimes people are observing your behavior and they're like,
nah,
maybe
you
in a
can't
different
handle
relationship,
that.
I would have been cool with it, but seeing how you moving,
Yeah.
nah, I don't feel good about that because I feel unsettled if I know that you out here with some people or some dudes because you deleting messages, you doing this. That got to be the worst feeling, boy. If somebody is around you and they cracking inside jokes with your person that you don't know nothing about,
that's like not her best friend.
Yeah,
that's
like,
not his homeboy or his brother. It's like, what's so goddamn funny? Clue me in. I like to laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, that feeling would be, feel disrespected.
Yeah, and I'm like, also, where do y'all work? Where the boss is making jokes like everybody around here, like back off of her, like she mine. She sends me pictures. It's like, what kind of boss?
That sounds like along the lines of the one that
you had, that we had. Baby girl is it's even also the playing dumb. That's one thing, oh my gosh, that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt. Do not, as the saying goes, do not piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. That just simply means don't play in my face. Don't sit here and play stupid like you don't know who's blowing your phone up right now. Like, I have no clue why this number just keeps calling back to back. When you know why the number keeps calling back to back. I understand you don't want to get caught. I understand you're messing around and you're cheating. But sometimes the fat lady is singing and you just got to cop to it. Or if you're going to be mixy and messy, which I don't support, I don't think you should cheat. I don't think you should mess around with other people. But my God, if you're going to be doing it, clean your tracks up. I always say better.
That lets you know, like, if somebody doesn't even have the effort to lie or to really cover up what they're doing, that even lets you know more of how they feel about you. Because I know there are people who truly love the person that they're with, but they have these physical, lustful moments that it's like, I want to pursue that. I want to pursue that. But this woman, I still love the heck out of her. Don't talk about her. Don't approach her wrong. Don't do nothing. I will die for her. But I just be having these lustful, like, little moments. But in those moments, those people will lie their ass off and try to cover their tracks as much as possible because they don't want to hurt that person. Like, they don't want that person to find out. They don't want that person to know. But the fact, and I'm not even saying that situation is right.
Right. It's not right.
But I'm just saying is that, like, the fact, if you have somebody who's not even really trying to hide it, like really legitimately hide it, honestly, what she's giving me is like, I mean, this relationship with Sebastian's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But if it kind of fell apart, okay.
I'm okay.
I get it.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, he was nice.
Yeah.
We had fun.
Honestly, that's what it's giving me. It's like,
yeah, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I could eat.
Like, I don't really care. And maybe there's some things that she likes about you and the relationship. Maybe she likes spending time, or you open up your home to her.
Yeah.
Like, all these different things. And people, let me tell you something. People, regardless of sometimes even appearance or anything like that, people value relationships where they feel like they can trust somebody 100%. And they have somebody who has their best interests at heart. Because I remember there was a girl that I was dealing with prior to my relationship with Bree, and she was cool. You know, we were physical at times and stuff like that. But I always said, like, out of all the girls I messed with, I would give her my credit card number, my social security, like everything, because I know that girl loved me up and down, like loved everything about me, would do anything for me. If I could ask her to do something, she would drop at a dime, come and do whatever I wanted her to do. Never wanted to marry her, never wanted to be with her, never wanted to be official with her. But I just knew that person would do so much for me if I needed to, and will hold me down if I needed to. You think I want that type of person exiting out of my life? Not really.
Right.
But if I found something that I found was better, I would have been like, hey, it was great. Like,
nice.
It was nice. But now I got that in somebody I actually want to be with now too.
Right.
So that type of person, and I'm sorry if you're hearing this, Sebastian, you feel like that's you, but it's possible that type of person, people don't like to just throw that type of person away.
Yeah.
You know, who is willing to do anything for them, loves them unconditionally, even if they BSing. Like the girl, I'm trying to tell you, that girl, sometimes I was never really a savage, but sometimes that was probably the one girl that I've ever like had some moments where I was like, yo, that was kind of like, dang, that was harsh.
Yeah, shouldn't have did that.
Like, I remember one time, don't judge me because I'm going to share this with y'all.
Okay, this is a judgment-free zone, right? Right, real lovers?
That one time she came up to my school unannounced though, and she had a friend that went to my school. I didn't know she was coming up that week, and obviously she was from back home. So school back home, that's two different arenas, like whatever. And she was there at a party, and I was like, yo, what are you doing here? Like, and I didn't know she was coming, but I know she liked me a lot, liked me a lot.
Yeah.
So then she was there, and I was just like, I might as well just, do the do. But after we were done, I was like, nah, I don't want you staying here though. So you have to figure out like where to stay. Woo! So she had to call her friend at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to wake her up to like come and get her to go. Yeah, man, it was one of those. But
I'm not judging you. I'm just, it's this thing. I feel it.
Past me. That's when Bree was like, I wish I knew you in college when you was playing football.
Like, no, you don't, honey.
No, you don't. Nah.
No, I don't think you would have liked me. Eventually, you would have fell out of this thing with me. Yeah, no.
No, I wasn't ready at that time.
Ain't God good? Don't he bring us from a mighty long way?
He do.
Yeah. And sometimes you just are in a place in your life where that is who you are, you know, and it's not always okay, right? We're not saying it's right. I think Dre, any of those types of things, you can recognize that perhaps that was hurtful to the person, that maybe how I said it or what I did hurt you. The idea though is to grow from that and to mature and to learn that, okay, that was when I
was 19.
Yeah, exactly. I was a child. I spoke as a child, you know.
And then if I see her, and then it's also important, I think, when you come to realizations that something that you did was wrong, I think it's important to express that to the person if you have an opportunity.
Absolutely.
I did that to her. I also did that to my ex because I don't want you having some type of trauma or thinking you're less than or thinking you did something wrong or the way that you performed or something was due to something that was a lack of whatever in you.
Yes.
No, my mindset was off. The way I acted wasn't right. And I just want to let you know that it wasn't anything that you did. I was just in an immature place. And I want you to know that because I hear so many stories of women who get older and these young experiences shape how they then start to behave in the future with men. And it's like, yo, you need to understand, I'm always going to make these mistakes when I'm 19. If I knew better, I would have did better.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of us when we're young, 19, 18, 20, 21, 23, 24. Every year we're growing and learning, having new experiences to know I'm doing better. But the moment that you know, like, yo, I was completely wrong in that situation and the way that I did something may have truly impacted somebody's life in a major way or just mentally made it really mess with them, it's important to share that and be like, yo, what you did was great. I messed up because of my immaturity. And I feel like it's important to share those moments.
I love that. That's so good. And I think I talked about it on the episode with my ex where like he was going through a tough time and it was a hard breakup because I felt like I was doing everything I could, but I was still like, he was pushing me away. And I told you he called me and was like, you know, I just want to apologize for how things went. And I cried on this damn episode because I was like, it freed me. Right? It freed me from like, I knew at that time that like I wasn't doing anything, but to hear the person that I was in the situation with confirm that for me, like, I promise you, like, it wasn't you. I really appreciated what you were doing, but I just wasn't in a position to receive it. I was emotionally immature, you know, because he wasn't 19. Yeah. He just was emotionally in a rough spot. And so you doing that, like, kudos to you, because a lot of people don't do that. And sometimes they don't even have the opportunity to. Whatever they did, maybe that person, they've long lost contact with them. They can't go back to make it right or just to at least set that person free. But it also brings me to the point of, as you mature and as you continue to date people, no matter where you are in your desires of dating, it is important to remember that the people you are seeing, they're people. They have emotions, they have feelings. And while you may not have these warm and loving and feelings for them, if you see that they are developing those for you, because I think we all can tell when that's happening, right? We can all sense when that's happening. While yes, even if you told them like, yo, I'm good on this, that's not what I want. And you expect them to just get that, but you keep entertaining them, you realize they just really can't handle it. They cannot handle I just call you when I want a little something, something.
Yeah.
If they can't handle it, you got to get out of that situation with them, because it could create these situations and you don't mean to, again, you being honest, you don't mean to, but that damage can be so overwhelming. And I would just rather I'm gonna just set you free, right? Because you won't leave on your own, you on your own recourse. So I'm gonna just be like, baby, go ahead on, because I don't want to be a part of your trauma.
Yeah.
Right. I want any of the time that we spent together, for the most part, you can look back at it and be like, it was cool. It wasn't a whole thing, but at least what we did do.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. He was a great person. Just let them go. Find somebody that can handle what you want.
And that's why I always, even what I said, just encouraging people, if you can, reach out. Because sometimes, like you said, it's hard.
Yeah.
Even with my ex, when I did apologize to her that time, it was in person. You know why I was in person? Because when I was trying to call, she was ignoring me. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't do it. I realized at the moment I felt so horrible, and I was trying to call, nothing. And then I remember sending something one time, and she was like, after everything that's happened, how you expect me to believe any word that you're saying? But you got to hear it in person, to where it's like, no, this person truly is like, I don't want nothing from you. I ain't asking to get back together. I'm just letting you know, like, I found I was completely wrong. Ain't no buts in the conversation. No buts. But if you were more, it's not even about that.
Not even about that.
I'm just letting you know, so that there's a part of healing that you have to do. And the reason I say reaching out is so important, because you will be a part of somebody's trauma. As you're learning, you're going to do some things that's going to really be wrong, hurt some people. You're going to go about things wrong. That's inevitable. You're just going to do it because you're learning. You don't know no better sometimes. But it's all about how you, once you come to that realization, how you bounce back, move forward. Hopefully you learn from those things. But if, like I said, if you have the opportunity, although we preach, self-closure and being able to move on your own, expressing to somebody, especially if you hurt, tears were shed during a time, expressing to them that you weren't tripping, I made a mistake, all these things, you don't know how how much of a relief, and Rhonda just told about that, how much of a relief, how freeing it is to just be like, wow.
I legit thanked him. Thank you. I really appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate that sincerely. I came to my own reckoning and all on my own, but it was something different about him saying it. And if you're going to do that, be receptive to the fact that they may not be receptive to it, right? But you're not doing it fully for them. That's a part of it. But another part of it, I know for you, it was to clear your own conscience too. Sure. I'm maturing. I want to be somebody's husband. I want to be the best man I could possibly be, a man that God can be pleased with. So some of this is for my own heart. Some of this is for my own need to be clear my slate. I'm good. So I'm thankful that you did that for them. I'm sure they probably were too. I'm thankful that my ex did it for me. And I'm thankful that I've gotten an opportunity to go back and apologize, whether that was to friends or guys that I dated where I made some bad moves and I might have hurt them, or I hurt them. Yeah. I do want to answer his last two questions. Okay. The one being, is he blinded by love? And we hear this saying a lot. Love is blind. Love is blind is literally in the dictionary as a phrase. I did not know that.
Is it?
Yes. Oxford defines it as, I was like, wait, this is actually a phrase in the dictionary? Interesting. It says loving someone making you unable to see their faults. It's a proverb.
Yeah.
Do I think love is blind? No, I don't. But I think people can certainly be blinded by love. Yes, I don't think love, as it is, how it was really given to us, yes. It's not supposed to be blinding. But most definitely it can be. And I think Sebastian is, in fact, blinded by the love that he has for Miss Sebastian. What do you think?
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree. I think that sometimes people, it's not even love with the person, they are in love with the idea of what
person.
something could be. And they're so infatuated and committed to the love of the idea that they want it to succeed at whatever cost.
At whatever cost, even
Doesn't
if that's
matter.
them.
You know, even if it's them, their feelings, their emotions,
Yep.
if they're getting beaten down to the stump, to the, you know, to the ground,
Yep.
they gonna, you know, do everything that they can to hope that this thing succeeds.
And you know what that creates?
Resentment. Yep. You end up resenting somebody.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just unfortunate because love is a very powerful thing and it is a choice.
Sure.
And it's something that allows you to look past a lot of people's faults sometimes. I said that before in a previous show, that love is not just because of, it's in spite of. It's
Sure.
easy to love somebody because of the things that they do for you, or because somebody's pretty, or because somebody treats you nice. But real love shows up when it's things going on. Like my wife, people jumped on me when I said in spite of anger. Everybody who has anger problems isn't smashing windows and, you know, doing things that are crazy and hitting people. Some people who have anger problems just have a temper. They just quick to like get upset, and it may just be a storming out of a room, or they can't communicate right because they're so upset. But that's when love shows up, as you're trying to work through different things in a relationship. But I think I've always said this as an example in the beginning, is that, you know, if you want to get a good grade in class, the number one thing that you have to do is show up to class. If you don't show up to class, then I can't help tutor you. I can't do office hours. We can't even get the coursework to get the grade because you're not showing that you're fully committed to the class.
Right.
Like, even if you show up to class every single day, I see you in the front row taking notes and you're still struggling. Okay, now I know that you're fully committed, you're fully in this, you're fully invested. Then we can start to put together and pull all the resources that we possibly can to help you be successful, because I see you want this. But if you're in a position where I can't even see, do you really want this?
Yes.
And I'm trying to convince you to want this, then this is not going to work, because there's other things that we got to work on. But I first need to know that you want this just as bad as I do, and that you're fully present.
Yes.
And what I'm saying in this is like, yo, you're not even fully here right now.
You're not. In fact, you're very much not here.
You're very, exactly. You're very much not here. So even all the other problems, we can't even attack that, because now I'm trying to convince you just to be here. And to me, that means that she's not respecting your relationship.
Sure. I agree with that. I really do. I think exactly what you talked about, loving in spite of, not because of, is when we talk about love covering all. And I believe that that's somewhat biblically based, but I don't know the scripture. But saying that love is blind means you cannot see it all.
Exactly.
Okay. The love covering is very similar to how God loves us. And therefore, there is this massive covering of things that we do wrong, of sins and shortcomings, that if we ask for his forgiveness, the love that he has for us, but also the fact that he can truly know if you are truly regretful for what you're doing, or that you are showing up to do better. Yes, he loves you, but he's also a God of fear and authority. And I'm not saying that your relationship should be governed as if one is the God and one is the saint. No, it's that, as I said on a different episode, you should have a certain healthy amount of fear of loss of your person. And sometimes that helps to keep you in check to not make certain decisions. There should be a feeling of, not only do I love this man so much, not only do I honor this man so much, and I enjoy him so much, I do not want to know what my life feels like without this person. And I don't want to be the person to push him away. I don't want to be doing things that will cause him to say, gotta go, peace out. I don't want to do that. It's only one thing promised to us in this life, and that's death. So we're all going to leave this place at some point. That's not anything that we can control, but I can certainly control my behaviors in a committed situation, to not do things to push you away from me, or not do things to make you look at me like, you're not really committed to this. You don't really want to be with me. Because a person who not only loves me, because certainly, like you said earlier, you can love someone and still do harmful things to them. That might be controversial, but it is true. You can love someone and still hurt their feelings or cheat on them and all these different things. So staying in a committed relationship takes more than just love, there's respect, there's honor, there's reverence, there's that healthy amount of fear. There is that resting on the commitment that you made, whether that was a spiritual marital commitment or a decision between two people to say, we just me and you. Mm-hmm. That is what keeps everybody in check. That is all those things combined is what's supposed to keep us in check. And so if I say that I'm doing all of that, we shouldn't even have to have these types of conversations about why you got 450 messages and you texting your high school friend with benefits. We shouldn't even be having all of that if you say that this is what you're showing up to do in this relationship.
Exactly. And that's why you've heard me say multiple times that one of the reasons I won't cheat on my wife is because I'm not willing to blow up my life.
That's right.
And that's a healthy fear
yes.
of if something happens, like this, my wife ain't gonna be like, oh baby, well let's just no hell's gonna be raised.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna be on my knees, down on my knees, begging you, please.
Yes.
It's gonna be that,
from her emotions to the physical financial changes,
repair all those things. It's just gonna be, it's not worth it.
It's a lot.
And I fear that, and I'm not willing to take that risk. But one of the biggest points too, when we're talking about love, as we kind of round this thing out, is, Rhonda, you would say your mother loves you unconditionally, right?
Absolutely.
Loves you more than anything on this earth.
That's my girl.
Right?
Yes.
Love your mom.
Yes. I love your mom too. I know she listens.
I know she loves you. Yes. And the thing is that although your mom loved you so much, when you did something wrong, there was always consequences and repercussions.
Absolutely.
She loved you.
Absolutely.
But
and you know what they used to say? I beat you because I love you. That's right.
And I think that's important to understand in love, is that you can love somebody and still hold them accountable for doing something wrong. But if you're in a relationship and there's love, but there's no consequences or repercussions or accountability for wrong actions, then that just breeds an opportunity for manipulation.
Yeah.
So, I can do whatever I want without any consequences or repercussions. Okay, how can I use this now to my advantage?
Yeah.
It's there is nothing to fear. Like you said, that's where that fear is bred. Like if I step out of line or do something wrong, and it's not saying that we're the boss of somebody,
no,
in a relationship, but consequences and repercussions come in a lot of different ways. It can
all
be
relationships.
Yeah, it could be a stern talking to when it comes to being in a romantic relationship. It could be somebody blowing up to where you like, whoa. I don't want to see that side of them again.
No more.
No.
Anymore.
They may not talk to you for a day. If you go completely over the line, I'm staying the weekend at my mom's house. I can't be in this house.
Yeah. And God forbid y'all don't live together. So
so it's like all these different things. Like there are repercussions, and it's not like a boss or anything like that. But if you step out of line in a relationship or you do something wrong, you feel that and you hear that and you understand, like, I don't want to go there.
I don't want to go there.
Nah, I ain't doing that no more.
Nope.
But if every time Miss Sebastian is doing something and it's obvious, like, I feel like
that was that gut feeling that he kept talking about.
Yeah. I feel like that this is not how people who are truly in a committed, love their person, act in a relationship.
Yeah. It's
not. You know that. And I feel like you're ignoring it willfully, ignoring these signs that are right in front of your face. But if there's any hope for you and Miss Sebastian, she's not going to change if you keep letting her slide.
For sure.
I had to tell so many friends this. I told especially a lot of my friends who are women, like, if you want this relationship to work, your best case scenario is leaving. And that sounds counterproductive, right?
Sure.
Like, don't lean into it.
I get it.
You're telling me to go away?
I get it.
I don't think it's going to work anyways, but if there is any chance that it could possibly work,
walk away.
It's not in this environment.
Nope.
You're going to have to walk away.
Yeah.
They're going to have to understand, do some growing on their own. Maybe they realize, like, dang, after evaluating this, I really messed up. This is the person I really need to be with. Now, actually leaning into the thing with the boss, I realized the things I thought I valued, I actually don't value and don't like. And I actually value the things that I had with Sebastian. But all those things, what are going to happen if you're not present. Those things can't happen when you're present. And you know what you can't do? You can't be doing it hoping that she'll get back with you. You have to do it and just move on.
That's it.
Move on with your life. And
Shake some shit up, as they say.
If it's supposed to happen, it'll come back around and find its way back to happening.
That's it.
But I think you deserve more than this. The bar, like, this is not.
This ain't it.
This ain't it. The bar goes a lot higher than this. It does. And for somebody who's so forgiving and it seems like so gracious, somebody will really appreciate that.
Yeah, and someone would not take that for granted. Yeah, they would not. Let me go back really quick to clarify something, because I know that we live in a very sensitive time, and certain things and phrases can be taken completely out of context. So when I talked about the thing that Black parents would say sometimes, I beat you because I love you.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all, that's really what they said. If you do, at least that's what I've heard. But we all know that physically assaulting someone is not a form of love. So please don't take that soundbite and run with that. Please.
I saw somebody comment on something. It was like we was all raised by the same person. Like when it comes to Black people, we just have these certain things that we was all raised by the same. Especially if you take grandmas and line them up, like
oh my goodness, it's all very similar. Yes, it just simply meant that love comes with discipline sometimes, and that doesn't need to be beating. Okay, all right. I just wanted to get that cleared up real quick. But I agree with everything you said about the doormat. Essentially, that is what is happening. And while you are, yes, blinded by love, I think a big part of it, like Dre said, is that you are so you're hanging on to the potential. You're hanging on to what you think could happen. Even when he said, I just don't want to throw away a great relationship for something that she can just stop doing. And it's like, well, yeah, she can just stop doing it, except that requires her to want to stop doing it. And if she doesn't want to stop doing it, it's not that simple. It's not as simple as, well, she can just stop. I think about, I talk about my dad a lot with his addiction. Before I fully understood his addiction, I would say things like that all the time. Well, he could just stop. You could just stop using it. But he didn't want to. And to a point, addiction specifically is an illness. So it's not just a choice. It is now an illness that is controlling you. And so in her situation, while no, it's not necessarily an addiction, at least we don't know that that's what it is, it's a choice. She's choosing to do this. So the fact that you fear that now that she doesn't stay with you anymore, she's going to go back to doing that, that is also a massive red flag. It should be a very telltale sign, as big as the Hollywood sign in Los Angeles, that you can't trust this person. This person can't be trusted. She should not be trusted. If you feel like the only way she can behave is if she lives in the household with you, that's not trust. That's control. Trust is being able to know that they are not doing anything even when you can't see them. That's trust. Trust isn't, she got to be right here next to me so I could keep checking that phone and make sure she ain't texting that boss. That's not it. And you shouldn't want to be in a relationship like that. No one should.
Sebastian.
Yeah, Sebastian, baby.
Let me ask you something. When it comes to that, you said she can stop. Let me ask you, why would she?
Yeah.
Why? Why would she?
Because it hurts him.
It's already been hurting you. She still continue to do it. So why would she stop? Because you love her so much? You've always loved her and she's still doing it. So why would she now, why in the future would she stop?
Yeah.
It's like if somebody is going to a gym and they're going for free every single day. And instead of you being the manager of the gym telling them they can't come in no more, you're just hoping that they stop going for free. Why would they do that?
Right. There's so much benefit.
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
They ain't gonna just stop going if they can go for free. Somebody will have to say, hey, no, this isn't acceptable. You can't do that no more. Like you can't come in. Like we're not letting, access is denied unless you pay for the membership. And that's essentially what this is that no, we're not doing this anymore unless you show a true commitment and stop all these behaviors. If not, you can't come here no more.
Nope.
It's over.
Create your standard and stand on it.
Boom.
Flat out. Sebastian, that's my advice to you. Have your standards and stand on them. If this is not the type of girlfriend or relationship that you would want, and I think it's overly clear that I don't think anybody who wants a committed relationship will want this, then you should have your answer. Stand on your standard. And
I don't feel like you're asking, it seemed like you may be afraid to ask the questions. Because I remember there was a girl that I was talking to that I liked, and she was attracted to me. But she was more like physical, like she wanted to she was physically attracted to me. And I remember one day I was just like, listen, we're doing a lot of talking. I really like you, could see something further, but you're just not being really consistent. Do you feel like you can be consistent with me? This is what I'm looking for. She said, at this time, I don't feel like I think I could. Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
I don't think you've truly asked her, like, can you, this is the type of relationship that I want. I don't want you talking to the boss anymore because I feel like it's appropriate. I don't want him calling all times of the night. I don't want, do you feel like you're capable of doing these things? And it sounds like she might be in a position where she's like, no,
I'm not. Because I even thought it was interesting that she moved out. Like, you had her move in. I don't know if maybe that was a temporary situation, but I never moved in with a guy and moved back out while we were still in a relationship. Nah, I mean, that was pretty much the end. You know, that was the end.
Yeah.
So, Sebastian, we hope.
We wish you the best.
We really do. We hope that we were able to help you, my man. As my girl said, I cannot think of her name on IG. Stand up. Stop being weak in the knees. Okay? You got to stand up. Okay? But if you want to write in, you know where to find us, relationshiprestore.com. Click the contact button and write into the show. You know how much I like the details, but remember to try to summarize it and include your ages. Also follow us on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cakes.
At SJ Smith.
And at Relationship Restored on TikTok too.
Yeah, peace.
See you next time.